Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe you're just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Okay, cut it. You already know what it is. If you don't, welcome to Reviews from the Six. My name is Cedric, but you can call me Ceddy Said. And today we are reviewing Minneapolis Sound, which was written by Illage and TABU. And I gotta say, the writing on this is superb. So before we get into all the details and all the good stuff, y'all, I am born and raised from Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I'm repping that Skull Gang today, that purple and that gold. And of course, you see the theme or the color scheme of the comic or the graphic novel, which is purple as well. So if you know anything about my man, Prince, you know Purple Rain, baby, when doves cry. Go purify yourself in the lakes of Minnetonka. And that's what this comic or this graphic novel is based on. Now, I'm not going to say it's based on Prince himself because it's not all about Prince, right? It's about the band Star Child and the lead singer, Teresa, who pretty much documents her journey of meeting Prince and her dream of becoming famous in a small town of Minneapolis, which was 98% white at the time. And what I really loved about this graphic novel more than anything is, of course, the writing, the forewords, the passages, the everything, because I learned so much about Minneapolis that I never knew, even though I was born and raised there. And I thought that was like the really, really dope part of this book. But we'll get into that, you know, the characters, the story, the writing and everything. But first things first, what grabs you or gravitates you towards a graphic novel or a comic book is the cover art. And here's the cover art here. I really, really dug it. And then here's the back. And then I'll go ahead and flip through some of the art here. I really, really enjoyed the art, y'all. Like, to me, it felt like magazine quality, you know? Now, there are a couple pictures of Prince where you're kind of going to be like, is that really Prince? I don't know if that's Prince or not. But you know what? I didn't care. It was all about the story. And like I said, just the history of everything. I mean, you got guest appearances from Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis. I mean, so much, y'all. So first things first, like I said, growing up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I knew about 4th Avenue and, of course, Purple Rain, the movie. Now, some of the things I really didn't know about was the history of Prince. Like, we all know his name is Roger and all that good stuff, right? But you never really hear about the business side. So we know he owns his masters, and it was part of a conspiracy theory. That's why he was murdered or why he passed away, was so they can get those rights to his music. But the interesting thing about reading this is that business is business. And just because business is business doesn't mean that's them personally. So I learned a little bit about Prince on the business side of things. So you start off learning about Teresa. Now, Teresa, she is the lead singer of Star Child. So what she does is she grabs her father's guitar. And from a little girl, she always wanted to be a musician. So her father was like, look, I'm going to tell you right now, this is not a glamorous road. This isn't something you're going to want to do all the time. And in order to get into this business, you're going to have to learn the business side of it. And first things first, get your grades up, not just your grades, but your math grades. And I thought that was really, really cool because, you know, when we go into business, you know, we're not really taught about finances in school. So that was his way of pretty much saying, hey, before you get in head over your heels, make sure you get those numbers right. Make sure you know those numbers. And I thought that was pretty dope. Now you have her brother by the name of Ellis. Ellis is his name. So anyway, so long story short, you have her sitting there playing the guitar. It's her father's guitar. Ellis is trying to get the guitar from her. Dad walks in, get your grades up, take it away from her, right? So she gets to the age where she can finally go buy her own equipment and that she's gotten her grades up. So now she's kind of like, okay, look, I am so tired of every single band just sounding the same. I want to do something different. And while she's doing that, she's at Mickey's doing her shopping. So the interesting thing about Mickey's growing up in Minnesota, like I always heard about Mickey's, but I'd never been there. I've seen 4th Avenue and 33rd Street, I believe it is. Y'all don't quote me on that, near where the Target Center is. I've been gone. I've been in Arizona for about 20 years now, so don't judge me on that. However, just giving you the little backstory, how it was a grocery store and everybody in the community would come through and shop there. And, you know, that's where they would see their local musicians. So at this time, it was only Judy Garland and Bob Dylan. they pretty much were the music scene in Minneapolis because they were from Minnesota. So of course we know Judy Garland being from I think it's the Wizard of Oz. I could be totally wrong. And I don't really listen to Bob Dylan's music, but when I hear like Bob Dylan being referenced, it's always like a corny, sad song, which is hilarious. So you got to understand at this time, that was the atmosphere of Minneapolis, the sound. So as she's trying to break the mold, she sees a poster of Prince gets put up, and she's like, yo, that is the dude who is going to change everything. Like, she was smitten from jump, and she was like, I don't care what I got to do to get to that show. We are going to get to that show. And she set out to do so, right? So she go home and she's just inspired now. She's like, I really got to get this sound right. I really got to get my vision right. I really got to get in the game. But first, I got to go see him live and personal. And luckily, she had a friend. So her friend name is Ezzy, which plays a big role in the success of the band. So anyways, Ezzy is like, look, homegirl, hey, I got us some tickets to go see, to go to Mickey's and see Prince. And she's like, Teresa's like, no, there's no way this is possible. I love you forever, right? So now keep in mind, they know each other because Ezzy is the lead singer of the choir. So, you know, they're musicians in a way. So they go to the show, and one of the things was that, like I said, she was smitten. And one of the things the writer said in here was that as Prince looked out into the crowd, it was as if he was looking into her soul. And that was her purpose. So she knew what was going on. And after that, she was like, look, we got to get this band together, y'all. So first things first, of course, she recruits her homegirl, right? She recruits Ezzy. Ezzy, you're the lead singer of the band. You're the lead singer in choir. I need you to be in my band, right? So now there's this big battle of the band that's going on. And she's like, I need the best of the best. So she's going around recruiting at this time, right? So she talks to Ezzy. Ezzy says, you know what? I'm all in. Then she meets James. James plays the guitar, and he's been kicked out of like every single band he's been in. So he's kind of like this rebel, and she just kind of liked his style. And she was like, if we want something new and something different, we're going to have to change it. Now, keep in mind, James is white, right? But he has soul. He has that spunk. He has that fire that she needs. So she's like, okay, bet, you in the band. Then she meets Danny. Danny plays the drums, and Danny kind of looks like Sheila E. in a way, which is funny. But she discovered Danny because Danny auditions at Mickey's a lot. Then you come into Slim. Slim plays the keytar. So funny thing about the keytar, like I would hear that in certain movies, and I was like, are they trying to say guitar, but saying it with a Southern accent? But it's really a keytar. So he plays that. He saw a flyer, so he just wants to be part of the gang. Like, he's just like, I just want to see where this goes. Whatever you do, I trust you, right? And then of course you got Lizzie, who plays the piano. Now Lizzie was referred by like a music teacher or something, and Lizzie doesn't even have an interest of being in a band or anything. So of course she puts up a fight. She's like, I don't want to do it. But anyway, she comes into it. So now she got her little crew together, right? So she's like, now that we're going to enter, before we enter Battle of the Bands, we got to make sure we know what our vision is and what we're going to do. How are we going to market and promote ourselves? And I kind of like that aspect of the graphic novel too, was because they kind of give you a glimpse of what the music business is. Like, you just can't put a band together and say, you know what, we're going to enter Battle of the Bands and we're going to win it. Well, first things first. If you're going to enter battles of the band, you're going to have to audition. But if you audition and they don't know who you are and you don't have a following, they're not going to put you into it. So that's exactly what they ran into, was that they went to the audition and was told, hey, nobody knows who you are. Y'all sound good. Y'all look good. But nobody knows who you are, man. Go back to the drawing board, come back, right? So then that's when they come with the idea, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead and make flyers that we're having the biggest event in Minneapolis and you don't want to miss it. We want to make it seem like it's exclusive too. Only a certain amount of people can get in at a certain amount of time, right? And also X, Y, and Z might show up to this event. And like I said, just the marketing and the advertising of it. And Ezzy kind of takes more of the role of being the manager, where she's like, okay, I'll go ahead and do everything. I'll find us a spot to record. Y'all make the music. I'll sing. And I'll manage. So I thought that was a dope part. Now keep all that in mind towards the end of the story, right? So as they're getting their marketing and their advertising together, you know, they believe they're ready. to go ahead and do Battle of the Band. So they start getting a little bit of clout, and everybody's liking their music. They're starting to play in little gigs. They're starting to record their music. They're starting to give away their albums for free to get more publicity and things like that. So times come where it's a Battle of the Band, right? And one band had dropped out, I believe, at this point. So they were able to get into the spot. So now they got a little bit of clout. They got a little bit of notoriety. They want to go in there and rock it. And they did just that. They went out there and rocked the place, right? Rocked it. So now we get to the point to where they're starting to get seen. So all of a sudden, Teresa, she gets an invitation. Hey, we want you to come up here and meet somebody, right? So she meets him, and Lord beholds, it's her idol, Prince. Now, before they get there, she's being told, this is whatever he wants it to be. So you can't call it an audition, right? If he wants to say that you came there just to clean his floors, that's what he's going to say. But he's not going to sit there and say that you came and played music for him, right? So he wanted to see what she was all about. So she went and she did her thing. And she was pretty much told, hey, he's looking for a lead guitarist. And not a lead guitarist, but a lead guitarist. So we're looking for that, and he's interested in you because you have the look, you have the sound, and everything else. The band, we're just not too sure of. So she goes back to the band and lets them know, hey, I just had a meet with Prince. He says X, Y, and Z. But if we want to get there, we're just going to have to get better, right? So now she is starting to push everybody to their limits, right? Now people are starting to feel a certain way about Teresa. They're kind of like, why do you have all the power? Why do you have the say? Why are you telling us what to do all of a sudden? Now, a lot of people really didn't have trouble with that except for James. Like I said, James is more of he's been kicked out of every band. So now he has a lot of questions, and he's kind of like, I'm my own man. You don't tell me what to do. Get up out you, right? So anyways, he talks to the rest of the bandmates, and the rest of the bandmates kind of assure him, hey, we on board, man. This vision seems legit. Let's just get it done, right? So now he's like, okay, let's do it. So, another band, I believe, drops out. So they're still doing Battle of the Bands, right? So she doesn't know who this band is, right? So they go in, and of course, they rock it again, right? They sell out the show. But now after the show is over, she feels a certain way. She feels a certain way because Ezzy is getting all the attention. Why? Because Ezzy is light skinned. Ezzy's light skinned. Right? So she feels like because she is dark skinned that she's not getting none of the publicity. Even though she put the band together, she's the mother hen and she needs everybody to pour into her. She feels like she's not getting the recognition she deserves. So of course she pulls Ezzy aside and tells Ezzy, hey, you're going to have to take a step back. You're going to be full-time manager. And I was just like, oh, okay. Even though Ezzy introduces her to another musician who helps her sing and unlocks her talent, she does that to Ezzy, y'all. And I felt a certain way about that, right? But it's business. I get it. So anyways, this is like the big moment. So now, like I said, she gets introduced to someone and they unlocked her biggest talent, and which is singing. So now they introduce her to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. And I believe the character in here is something Alexander. I really can't, Alexander O'Neal unlocks her talent. So he introduces her to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and they pretty much tell her, hey, we were on board with Prince. We were supposed to go with him. However, because of business, we didn't see eye to eye. And that was the gig. So long story short, they finally get another opportunity, right? They pass on that because they tell her, hey, come with us. You're not going to like the way Prince does business. And she finds that out the hard way. So, of course, they don't know who this opponent is, but they get set up with a surprise opponent. They go in there, and it is Morris Day in the time, which I thought was cool, with Vanity 6 doing the judging, which was dope. Now, the crazy part is that Morris Day in the time unplugged their sound. So now she had to use her new voice, her new talent to rock the crowd, and they did just that with the choreography and everything. But long story short, it was the side of business. As you can see here, I'm not going to ruin anything because would be a bit of a spoiler. But as you see here, this is not what the group looks like. This is what the vision of the group is. And of course, a lot of them wasn't feeling it. And that's where the aspect of Prince and business comes into play. And I really, really dug this graphic novel, man. So if you get a chance, go ahead, pick this up and let me know what you think about it. Down in the comments below, let me know if you read anything from Illage or TABU. And then, you know, have you read Minneapolis Sound? What do you think of their image of Prince? What do you think of their illustrations of Prince? Do you think this comic book is accurate at all? Like I said, let me know all that down in the comments. Also, make sure you hit that like button. If you don't hit the like button, you won't see more content like this, okay? Let YouTube algorithm know you like this. Also, hit that sub button because your vibe attracts your tribe, and that's what brought you here today, right? You are tribe. Also, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, hit that share button. And share this video to all and any social media platforms and to anyone you think this video would be beneficial to. With that being said, y'all, peace, love, and blessings.